Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Kate here with another horse life video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about community ideas that should be added into horse life. This is going to be similar to the series I made about the traits that people have submitted that should be official into horse life. It'll be very similar but a little bit different in the same way. In today's video, we're going to be doing part 1, so if you like this, you can like and subscribe for a part 2, and let's go ahead and get right in. So the first one we have is from Coolest Cat, and it's basically being able to resize and move accessories. This should involve adding another button within customization, perhaps above the color sections, to allow players to resize and move accessories to create their own variations of accessories and make certain items fit certain breeds. The dragon mask on the Goldstein and Gargs are a bit too small for their facial structure, making it look a little goofy. This will also allow more freedom with the accessories people obtain, as well as less disappointment when money is spent on an item only for it to not fit. I used a video example from Dragon Adventures, one of their other games, on how this could probably look if they added this into horse life and how it will affect the accessories and stuff. Now, I do agree that it should have a limit. For Dragon Adventures, I can't remember if they still have a limit or not, but in Dragon Adventures, you can basically make it as big as you want with the accessories. I don't think sizing them would be a big deal, but I think there should be a limit to how big they can be, so then we don't have big accessories on the horses and they won't look goofy and funky. Just something that makes it so that you could fit the accessories how they want to be looked on the horse that you have. The next suggestion we have is from 3YLA56, and this is a gameplay or marketplace suggestion. Basically, you can name your market stand. For example, storage, CC horses, themed accessories, etc. As you can see these pictures, the person made these pictures themselves. I did not make them, but you can see how they kind of want the example to look and how you can basically name your stalls to what you're selling in them. This will make it easier for players to see what people are selling instead of needing to look through the whole stall to find what they're looking for. It will make it much easier and faster when it comes to selling and buying from stalls, and it might make it look a lot neater when it comes to these stalls. The next suggestion we have is from Vox566, and this is basically a game mechanic where wild female horse species have a chance to be captured pregnant with a foal of any species that share the same spawn with and can be bred with, and the foal can have a random trait or mutation upon birth. I love this idea because it could give you guys a more sense of taming, and you guys might be more motivated to tame when it comes to that if you can actually get a possibility of a pregnant horse. Now with this, I think they should have where if their horse is pregnant, it's pretty rare to find, and then the baby that it actually produces has a high chance of having a mutation. We kind of encourage you guys to get horses and possibly get a pregnant one. The next one we have is a quality of life suggestion from Queen, and this is basically to boost sell prices for all horses. To elaborate, this game is pretty much market-focused, similar to Twin Atlas's other games, mainly Creatures of Sonaria and Dragon Adventures. While there's an argument to say it's not fair to compare the games, I think that these three specifically are similar due to the center point of the trade aspect. Don't get me wrong, I like trading, but I feel like it's solely the backbone. I find myself relying on event items and like rewards, hoping to get something valuable to make profit for myself. Taming wild horses and species feels tiresome, and it doesn't give you much. The lassos are worth more than the horses themselves at a point, and all I ask is there is a slight raise in the default sell value. This will make it feel more welcoming to new players and make them feel stable and secure in an enjoyable community instead of making a certain content feel premium at the very start. I agree with this 100%. I feel like they should actually buff up how much you get from selling wild horses in the wild, as I feel like it's not as much if you're just going around selling horses, as gargoyles and stuff aren't even as much either. A lot of the lassos are actually more expensive when it comes to that than they are when you sell a horse. For example, I think one of the lassos is around $100, and then you sell the horse for $109, giving you only $99 worth of profit. I feel like it shouldn't be as much as probably in the video's picture, as I did edit that and make it to 50. I mean, it could go lower, honestly, but that's kind of an example of what this person is suggesting, as we want to have a little bit of a boost when you're selling your horses. I love this idea, and I feel like this is especially needed now that the game has progressed more. So the next suggestion we have is from Melly. This is a potion type suggestion. And basically, it's an idle walk and an idle flight potion that would be a nice addition to horse life, allowing players to choose whether their winged companions can fly beside them or walk beside them. Now, with this suggestion, I didn't make it as accurate with the pictures, but it's kind of an example of what they're kind of going for in this suggestion. On the bottom, you see the idle flight, and basically, when you use the potion, the one with wings can actually fly and catch up to you when you're riding with your other horses, or if you're just like walking with your other horse as well, probably. It's kind of just a little example of what these potion examples are, and I think it'd be pretty cool because I'm honestly tired of having winged horses that won't fly with me, that I have equipped, and they kind of just run around aimlessly because they can't fly. So I think this would be pretty cool, is if your winged horses could actually follow you when you fly. The next suggestion we have is from the Puffman, and this is a gameplay suggestion. Now, a lot of people have actually suggested this and have talked about wanting this into the game, so it's not really a new thing, but I did want to put this in here of an idea that people have had forever now that I think should definitely be added. Is with the new race and trail update, they think it would be cool to add another race variant. A flying race where you need to have a horse with wings to participate, and it's basically a race in the air. You fly through the rings in the sky while dodging storm clouds and obstacles. Flying through normal clouds gives you a speed boost. Benefits to the game would provide a new challenge for some variations to races, could also have some new exclusive rewards. I know a lot of people have probably suggested this, but this is one of the most recent suggestions, so I just put this one in here, and I think this would definitely be good for the game as we have a bunch of flying, so I think that if they had races that weren't just on land but also in the air, it would make people want to join the races even more and have more of an adventure with the races. The next suggestion we have is from Roski, and this is the barn upgrade requirement change. As far as they're aware, everyone is a bit bummed out at the fact that you have to replay all 12 quests in order to unlock 5 storage slots. This suggestion brings light into a different way of making the player base through these quests, but in a different order. Tier unlocks. Instead of making your players redo every quest each time, have it set where they have to do quests in the following order. Tier 1, unlock horses, equus, quest. 5 tokens, unlocks the ability to put only horses, ponies, and equus, and you get 5 barn slots. Buy horse and caprins, 10k tokens, and unlocks the ability to put in buy horses and caprins, as well as another 5 barn slots. Unicorns and puritans, again 15k tokens, allows you to put unicorns, gargs, kelps, and puritans, and you also get 5+ barn slots. Fae, Flora, whatever amount of tokens allows you to put in the rest of the horses, 5 barn slots. As more horses get added, depending on their rarity, players should have to do these quests in order to A, unlock the ability to put those horses in storage, and B, unlock more storage. The benefit to the game, it makes it simpler, lower cooldown times between needing to wait and for missions to reset, not so grindy, more casual. Now, this is a really great suggestion as it basically breaks down the stable storage capacity from making it so much more simple and making it easier to do, as right now you have to redo all 12 quests in order to get more than 5 slots in the storage, which is terrible in my opinion. And with this, we can actually break down the quest and make it so it's a little bit easier for people to actually upgrade. I think this is much more easier, and also the fact that it only will allow horses, ponies, and equus to be in the storage itself until you unlock the others will definitely encourage people to actually do all the quests while still earning all of the barn slots that they want. This is a perfect suggestion. I just hope that something like this is added in the future of the game, as I feel like the barn one is kind of too much with doing all the 12 quests to just get 5 slots in the storage. The next one is actually a horse species suggestion, but I wanted to add in a few of those because they absolutely look gorgeous. This one is from Oringo, and it's a horse species. This is the hare horse for the Easter event. This would be a rabbit-like horse that would feature spring and Easter themes. They would have a variety of patterns, ears, and other traits. They have front paws and back hooves, much like the Puritans' fewer hooves. This will be a new, colorful, unique horse species, the first current rooster of horse species. I love how this one looks, and I would love to see this in the game in the future. The model and the autonomy of this base is very nicely done, so this is definitely something I'd love to see in the game. It kind of reminds me of the Dragon Adventures Easter dragon. I can't remember the name of it. It looks like it, but I wanted to add it in because I think it looks pretty good, and something like this should be added for Easter. The next one I have is also another bunny horse species suggestion. I wanted to put 2 of them in here because both of them look fantastic, so then both of them have a chance basically. Meet the Woppler, an Easter bunny inspired species intended for the Easter event. The traits for the species would include a variety of different ear types instead of horns. Fur patterns and paints inspired by rabbit markings. Cosmetics can be anything Eastery such as eggshells, carrots, flowers, etc. This is going to be a benefit of just having an Easter bunny basically for Easter. I would love to see this one as well into the game, as I feel like this one also looks very nice and it does mimic the horse look very well as as making it look like a rabbit. I definitely hope something like this is added in the future as well, or one of the 2 of the designs. The next suggestion we have is from PC, and this is a suggestion type of a quality of life or UI. Let there be a feature where we can hover over our mouse and buttons to see specific traits that might be covered under other traits. For example, the messy patterns on the moose body, it may be hard to tell which trait is what. It'll be easier for players to tell which trait is which, and it might be helpful for people who don't know their traits. It's a perfect idea for people who love to look at their horses and see what is there, as well as this might be a lot helpful for people who love to breed. As you can see in the picture, this person actually edited themselves, so this is not something I did, but you can see that they highlighted what the trait was, and they also highlighted on the body where the trait was. This will be great for new players especially to find out what traits they want to add to their future projects or whatever the case might be. It just looks overall something that should be added into the game, as the primarily added thing to the game is basically just breeding. The next suggestion type we have is from Phantom, and this is another potion suggestion type. This is the Mutation Boost potion. Much like the Trait Boost potion, there would be a potion that helps with mutation breeding chances. They spent so much time and money trying to predict for their specific mutation, and sometimes for nothing. And then the benefits would be people who play and breed a lot would be able to output certain mutations faster, making these things more accessible to players who may not have predict potions. The Mutation Boost potions should be a part of the daily login rewards, cosmetic contest rewards, taming contest rewards, or any other playable quest rewards. It should not be available in the shop, and people should have to work for this. I definitely agree with the suggestion. The only problem is it might make things a lot more easier for people with breeding projects. That's why they might not consider adding this into the game, but this is a fantastic idea for people who love to breed, and it will make things so much easier, as I feel like it's impossible to get mutations sometimes that you want, and you just get other mutations that you don't need. So this is definitely something that should be added. The next suggestion we have is from Ranger, and this is a quality of life one. This is basically a short timer before you click the Keep Old mutation. I've accidentally clicked the button numerous times when re-rolling the mutation, and the benefits will prevent accidentally keeping an unwanted mutation. I love this idea because I also have the problem of accidentally clicking things and then I don't want to do that. So I think a timer would definitely be helpful for people who have that issue like I do. I love the suggestion. It's simple. It's something that they could easily add into the game. And it would probably help a bunch of people who are just naturally clumsy like I am. So I love this suggestion and I hope this is added, as I think this would be pretty simple for someone. The next one we have is from Ver, and this is another quality of life suggestion. Now, I've seen this one so many times in my live streams or people just suggesting it in the Discord, so I wanted to add this one in here. It's basically a horse planner. It specifically is to preview every color, every trait, every mutation, and every paint and pattern you could possibly have on a horse. This is to basically plan out the dream horse you may want and planning breeding projects and maybe new horse themed trends. You cannot turn this into a physically playable horse, only a preview, so it won't be something that you can physically play. It's only just a preview of what you might want to breed. This will help players spend more time in game, as well as adding more enrichment experiences for the players. Now, this pictures that they have is also something that they did. I did not put those in there, but you can see how they kind of want this suggestion to go into the game. I definitely want something like this added into the game, as breeding is one of the biggest parts of this game, and this would definitely help a bunch of people who love to kind of just see what they can get and the new kind of themes that they want. The next one we have is from Steefix. This is another quality of life, and I think this definitely should be added. A map redesign, new additions, multiple maps for specific spawn points, important building locations, NPC locations. Helping new players with navigation through the game. A lot of new players have problems not knowing where certain species or NPCs are. I love the fact that they've had included these pictures as well, because these are actually from the suggestion person. I did not make these, but I love the pictures that they've added to the game. I think that this would be perfect for the maps redesign to help people with where they want to find things. Now, I feel like it's a bit much with some of the stuff they've added onto the map, but I think that you should be able to like sort. For example, if you wanted to look for all the species only, there would just be one map with all the species, and then the next map is all the NPC spawns. Then the next would be like the horse coat spawns and stuff. I think this would definitely be helpful for a lot of new players, and also players who just want to go around looking for things that they might not know the locations of. The next one we have is from Ranger again. This is a quality of life lasso revamp. I love this idea so much because lassos, I feel, need this as well. Lassos have been a core mechanic of the game for a long time, and it's about time to revisit the basics. Lesser lassos such as rope lassos, bright lassos, etc. getting buffed. Even all lassos out and adjusting prices could make it better for user experience. Speeding up lesser lassos can make it easier to catch harder horses and lessen the frustration of trying to catch a certain horse. Could make players use the shop more if the prices are evened out to a reasonable price. I love the fact that this person used a suggestion for the lassos, as I feel like they definitely need a revamp of this, and this is a perfect example of what they need to do to revamp it. The pictures on the side of what they created are what they did. Basically, they're just showing how they should be buffed and everything of the sort. So the next suggestion we have is from Tay. This is basically different stalls in Trade Realm. Each stall can be purchased by coins or unlockable VIA number of sales. Each stall can allow players to add more items or simply just visual appeal. Gives more customization options and also gives players motivation to unlock new stalls, adding progression to the game. Now, the picture I have on the right here is actually a picture from the Horse Life feed. It's an official picture. I did want to say that the suggestion is actually something they planned to add when stalls came out, as they were talking about the stalls having different looks to them. As you can see, we have a barn one and a topical looking stall next to it. So I think that in the future, we will probably be getting stalls that look like these guys. But right now, that is not something that we actually have. And the suggestion I wanted to put in here, because I really want these to be added one day into the future of Horse Life. I feel like they forgot about these stalls, different looks that you could put on the stalls. And I feel like this is something they should definitely add. So I hope that they kind of see this and then be like, oh yeah, we need to add that to the game. The next one we have is from Sketchy Confetti. This is a gameplay and quality of life that I 100% agree with. Whenever a developer horse is rewarded or earned by a player, they should automatically add one permanent slot to your stables. This does not mean when trading them between players you get a slot or you lose a slot. Developer players or developer horses should be seen as a benefit to everyone, but some players only collect specific species, colors, themes, and these horses can take up valuable spots in players' stables. It can be difficult to sell them as well due to the limited slots in market shops and finding buyers that are interested in the horse. If we got a permanent 1+ stable, it would actually be exciting for everyone and also might preserve some of those dev creatures for longer to be resold to people who want them. I 100% agree with this because I feel like dev horses are kind of just forcefully given to players. So obviously they can just delete them, but it's kind of just something that they forcefully give to players and they just add them into their accounts instead of letting them either accept or decline that developer species. Now, or the developer horse. Now, I think this is a good idea to have a permanent stable space, as it would make it so much more easier for people to actually keep the developer horses. Because think about it, we had a ton of developer horses just like created in the past 4 months. It's going to make it so difficult in the future when we keep having more developer horses that it's just going to make it so that space is not going to be a thing in the game. I think that having a stable space added whenever you get a developer horse would be amazing. It would make it so people can actually want to collect these developer horses. It might give them more value, as well as it will give people more space in their storage if they need it. The next one we have is from Ranger once again. This is a quality of life growing timer. And basically it's a timer that gives a countdown to the age 100 on a horse. I think this is very useful for people who love to breed horses. It gives them kind of an estimate of how long their horse is going to take to grow, as each species has their own cooldown or their own timer when it comes to the breeding and to the baby to the adult. Every one of them has a different countdown. I think it would be amazing as if we had that little look that it has in the picture that Ranger edited where it says growing, and if it had a timer as well, it can make it so much more useful for players who want to see how long it's going to take their horses to grow. So the next one we have is from Mikey Element. This is a horse species called the Titanorse, an elephant hybrid horse. This is basically going to be one of the largest species, or will be close to being one of the largest species in the game. I love how this looks, and I couldn't not add this into my video because it looks super cool as a horse species, and I'd love to see this added into the game. Now, for one thing about this concept, I feel like it doesn't have as much horse as it does elephant, and I'd love to see maybe some hooves or something to kind of represent the horse and the elephant. I do love it though, and if this was added into the game, this would be one of my #1 played species. I'd love to play as this. The next suggestion we have is from Offbrand Reaper. This is a quality of life, and it's basically AFK tags. Knowing when a player is AFK can be really useful in Trade Realm. So having AFK tags for when players tab out of the game, been inactive for a certain period of time, or toggle the tag themselves can make it easier for others so they don't talk to a brick wall for minutes on end. It helps with communication between players and makes life easier for buyers and sellers. Knowing when a seller is AFK prevents buyers from spending so much time talking to an AFK person. And basically, as well as adding on to that, I do want to say that this would be perfect for content creators as well, as sometimes I like to join the game, but then I go AFK, and someone might be trying to talk to me if they joined my game, but I'm actually not at the game, I'm just like kind of AFK. So it would be perfect if there was a tab to kind of tell people, yeah, I'm AFK, so you won't be able to hear from me. I think this is a perfect suggestion. The next one we have is from Inkyfell. This is a UI suggestion type. Make it where you can favorite certain items so we don't accidentally delete them, the same way we can basically favorite horses. This will make it so less people accidentally delete items that they like. I love this idea, and it would also make it so you can organize things a lot better with liking some of the items that you have. So you can see in the picture below, when I edited it, I made it look like I hearted some of the apple barrels, so then people can't delete the apple barrels in their inventory if they have them hearted, kind of like it does with horses, but just with the items instead. This is a perfect example, and I love the suggestion 100%. This is something that definitely should be added. So the next one we have is from Lisa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it's another quality of life. Basically, it's turning off collision on buildings, structures, and surrounding stuff around the spawn so horses don't get stuck all the time when harvesting. This is definitely something that is needed, not wanted, as I find it very annoying as well when your horses literally get stuck like that one in the picture. And they don't move and they get stuck and you have to move them yourself or have to unequip them. It's a whole process of doing it. I feel like they should have it where they either go around it in a certain way or they just turn off collision so then they don't get stuck on things like that. And sometimes it's the tiniest of things too, like it's so tiny that they could easily get around it but they just get stuck. So this is definitely something that's needed. I feel like it would be much better for people, especially when it comes to doing stuff around spawn. It makes it very difficult to move the horses anywhere. So the next suggestion type we have is actually from Sleepy, and this is a quality of life or UI suggestion. Update the UI to fully display both horses and food while feeding horses. Not needing to click every time to change food types was an awesome update. However, the regular horse feeding menu still covers a large portion of the player's food options. Using the horse breeding menu as a template, I suggest placing horses on the left and the food on the right in one display window. This benefits would allow players to easily see all their food options and allowing for smoother feeding experience. As you can see, the old one is at the bottom and how it looks right now, versus the new one where it's basically like the breeding, except you can use the breeding kind of to put food there, and you don't have to worry about it blocking up your food. I love this idea because even though they made it amazing with how easy it is to feed your horses now, it still makes it so the horses get in the way of the food and you still have to click out to actually find food. With the new version that this person's suggestion, I love it because you can actually see all the horses and all the food, and it's not like they're blocking each other up. This is something that definitely needs to be added into the game soon, as I feel like this would definitely benefit the way that people kind of feed their horses. The next suggestion we have is from Bunny. This is another quality of life. Sometimes a person like myself spends hours on end in the game, and some of us might create personalities of our horses in our heads. But what if personalities were a thing? This would mean a personality section in the horse info with the describing words like shy, mean, scared, etc. This could also possibly influence the animation of the horse it pertains to. This would make the game more of a pet game than just grinding and making pretty horses. Adding animations to personality types would bring the horses to life even more, making the game more enjoyable for those who really love their virtual horses. I love the suggestion as it adds personality to the horses that they have, and I used one of my horses as an example. I added a little thing in the corner that says the personality, and I put aggressive. If we had something like this, maybe they could also have buffs with their personalities. So, for example, the aggressive, maybe they could have some certain buff that relates to the aggressive personality that the horse has, as well as, like they said, an animation for all of the personalities that you could add to the horses. I love this idea. It gives the game more of a life to it, and it feels like it would fit the game 100%. It would make people also be more attached to their horses in the game and make it more just lively altogether. Now that is all of the community ideas I've added into the video. I do want to add my own ideas at the end. I have a few of them. The first one I have is new animations for wild horses. Right now, wild horses basically just have their old animations that we used to have when the game released. When the game released, we used to have old animations for the horses, but later on they actually changed those animations to different ones, but they still kept them onto the wild horses. The only ones with the new animations are the ones that you tame and have in your inventory. Herds of horses and foals spawning in the wild. I'd love to see where herds of horses actually spawn, and it's not just one or two in the same kind of area walking around. It would give more life to the game, and also with foals spawning in the wild, they could spawn with their herds. They could also have buffs, like said in my idea paragraph here. They will basically have a buff for the foals that are actually spawned in the wild that makes bonding and fertility have buffs. It would make sense if the foals actually have a buff for bonding, as they would be kind of introduced to humans as a baby, so that would make it so people would want to tame the foals even more, and it would give more life to the game. As well as new animations, we could also have grazing. Horses don't have to just walk around lifelessly and look like they're doing absolutely nothing. They could actually go on the grass and graze like a normal horse would. Trotting. A lot of them just go from walking to cantering in their little spots that they are until someone collects them. And honestly, they look even lifeless without trotting. If they just added in the trotting animation as well, it would make it look a little bit better for the horses that are NPCs. Interacting with their herd members. So if there is actually a herd spawned in, they could basically groom, nuzzle, or whatever they want to do with their herd members. This would make it look pretty cool and also have a dynamic to the NPCs, as well as, I know this would probably be hard to add, but I know that it would make it look much better when it comes to the NPCs. As well as a new taming system, kind of. This would be like a third way that you can actually tame horses. It would be like food taming. You sneak up on them and then you jump onto the horse's back. They will buck you, but you have to calm them or either feed them food in order for them to calm down. This could be a third taming method that they could add into the game, and this would be pretty cool to add, as this is kind of realistic in a way, as people used to do this back then, and people still do it now where they just jump on the back of horses. Although I don't think now would be a very good idea to just jump on some horse's back. That's how you kind of lose trust, but it's more realistic when it comes to that in the game. The next thing I actually wanted to suggest is having each horse have their own mini journal. This is basically where you can write whatever you want in it. Make a little notes, make a story about the horse that's in your inventory, and it basically just adds personality to your horse. You could have a little journal in the corner, and then when you open it up, basically, then you can write whatever you want about that horse that you have, and each horse will have their different journal saying different things. This will be great for people like me who love creativity and connections to their horses. I think this would be perfect for people like that. It's just something tiny, but something that people can also add to their game to make it even better. As well as that, you can also add in the journals like the mother and father. So if you're trying to make like a little genetic tree, you can also add in the journals, be like, the mother of this one was whoever, as they won't be adding any like tree generations or anything into the game. So they're probably not going to do anything like that, but a journal would be perfect for you to add like generations and who the mother and father were. The next suggestion I was going to make was more tack. Basically, right now we just have the basic tack for all the species. The only one we don't have basic tack just for is the horses, which is, example, the racing saddle. I think that we should have more tack for all species. For example, the gargoyle could have like armored tack, where it's just basically armored, and it would be different kind of themes for all of the tack. I feel like that's something we definitely need, as we have a bunch of accessories now, but right now we just have basic tack. And maybe some people want to have different saddles on the unicorns that don't look like they're just English saddles. Like, they should have more kind of tack themes and everything to make it more lifeful, and also make it so that people can make their horses look really cool with themes that they go for. The last, or I think one of the last suggestions I have, is normal non-event minigames. Example would be a dress to impress, where you can dress your horses with their accessories, saddles, and stuff like that, and compete against others for best dressed. Now, I'm getting this like inspiration off of Animal Jam. If anyone's ever played that game before, I loved it as a kid, and I would love to see something like that with the dress to impress minigame. Now, I know we have minigames for events, but once the events are gone, there is the event minigames that we have, but once the events go away, we really don't have any minigames to do. Yes, we have races, but that's not really a minigame. I think there should be normal minigames that always happen in the game, so they're always just gonna be there. For example, like I said, the dress to impress, so then people can have something to do when there isn't an event going on. But yeah, that is it for part 1 of this season. If you guys want a part 2 of people's suggestions as well as my own, be sure to let me know by liking and subscribing. If you have any of your suggestions of your own, leave them in the comments below or on my Discord. That is fine with me. I wanted to make a video like this because I feel like it makes it so that it's easier for people's suggestions to kind of be out there and for people to see them, like the developers, for example, and then they could possibly add it into the game. So that's why I like doing these videos. I love seeing people's creativity kind of come to life. So it's kind of my way of helping you guys with your suggestions come to light. So then possibly in the future, your like suggestions or your creativity comes into the game that you guys enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed though, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!